Hi, fourth graders. Today is Tuesday, and today we are going to continue to learn, how to use the information from text features, just like yesterday, such as bold print timelines to understand new information. Now, these text features help us understand key vocabulary words and locate facts and supporting details. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to, as I've already talked about, they're going to help us understand those words and details. We're going to return back to oceanography here. Okay, let's begin on a lookout for text features to uncover the meaning of new vocabulary and locate big ideas and supporting details. As we've learned, when a writer uses a text feature or a graphic aid, there's something he or she really wants us to know about specific information. So text features are the writer's way of shouting out to the reader, hey, pay attention to me, it's important. And as we read the text, we will chart our findings to help us not only identify the text feature, but also consider what the writer really wants us to know. Now, remember to join us on our Zoom so you can actually look at the pages along with us. But what I'm going to do here for our videos, I'm going to point out the page number and the text feature, okay? I will pull out the example, but really what I want you to think about is what do we learn from that text feature? That's the most important part. So let me go ahead and start revealing here. I know as we start here on page 12, we get into some bolded words. Now, the example in the actual selection here is I have this word voyage that has been bolded. Okay, now what does that tell me? If the word has been bolded, what does that mean to us? Well, I know the author really wants me to understand what a voyage actually is. And since the information before the word means ships traveling the sea, I can then infer that the word voyage must mean traveling the sea, right? So let's go ahead and we're going to record this here, and you have this page in your white binder. Okay, so make sure you please record this in your binders as we're going through. Now, let's take a look at another feature here on page 46, okay? And on page 46 here, we have an example of what we call a glossary. And it even says important words up at the top. Now, we already know that a glossary is filled with words that the author really wants us to know and that are important to understanding the information in the text. It's kind of like, and I've said this before, a mini dictionary, especially for this text. So when I look at the specific example, like I said before, I can already see here at the very top of that glossary, it says important words. So what does that tell me? What do we learn again? We know that these definitions are things our author really wants us to know. Now, I'm going to continue on. And remember, these text features, when they tell us this, it's kind of like shouting out to us, hey, pay attention to me, right? All right, so when I'm taking a look at page 12 and 13, I have an example of more photos and illustrations. Now, the specific example in this book, okay, was actually the image of the Magellan and of the Challenger with actual captions. So why would that be important to us as readers? What did we learn from these images here? Well, what we're learning is we learn about what it looks like and what the Challenger looked like, and then also any additional information about our crew's actual journey. Because I can maybe talk about the Magellan and the Challenger, but it's hard for me to picture it and visualize a reader without the photographs included. Now, there's another text feature here on page 14 and 15. So I'm going to go ahead and reveal what it is, and it's a timeline. So especially as we get closer to the end of the week here where our quiz is going to be, why would a timeline would be so important to me as a reader? You know, the timeline at the bottom of these pages is another great example of the text feature. Okay, so we are going to add this to the chart. Okay, and then the example here is the important dates and the events. So ask yourself, what does the author really want us to know about this topic on oceanography by using this timeline? Let's reveal here. It gives us the important dates and events that occurred about oceanography from the year starting in 1492 all the way through the 1960s. Awesome. All right, one more thing, because those were some text features, but you know, these bolded words here, let's kind of go back and review. What do you think these words now mean? Okay, now we obviously can look these up in our glossary. We know that. But what have we learned about continental? Now, we may have already kind of learned about this in science, too. And if we're looking at there, we know that continental means being a part of that main land. Now, remember, friends, join us for our Zoom so you can actually see this being used in context. Oh, we have some background knowledge here about plate tectonics. What do we remember about plate tectonics? Do you remember? Let's reveal it. Remember, it's the Earth's outer layers made up of large moving pieces called plates. Now, we learned to hear about our scientists being on different expeditions. And those expeditions were the big journey, right? And those journeys definitely had a purpose. And the last piece here was our theory. Now, a theory kind of is that idea, right? It's an explanation for why things work or how things happen. And it's our idea of why they happen. It's our idea for an explanation for that. Now, what's great about this is if we couldn't figure it out based on context clues, we can definitely always use our glossaries to help. So today, friends, we've learned how to look for and notice even more details in the text features nonfiction writers include in their texts. It's so important that we understand how to identify and examine the various text features on each page because just like that roadmap we talked about yesterday, they guide us to the most important ideas and supporting details. So my roomies today, you're simply going to flip to the back page or use a blank piece of paper because you're going to continue on and investigate additional text features here. More text features that we notice. Today, we're really going to push ourselves to identify what the text feature is. What is your example? But what I said, what have we learned from it? What are we learning from this text feature? It's not about just knowing what the text feature is, but what is the text feature teaching us? Zoomies, today, you have an electronic version of that page, and you're going to go in and again use our Scholastic News to identify more nonfiction text features today. Okay, I can't wait for tomorrow's lesson. We're going to talk a little bit more just about main idea and details as we look at how authors organize their text. Until next time.